I am the Gridiron Ghost, the voice that lingers after the final whistle fades. I've stood in seas of color, under lights that turn night into legend, and I've heard crowds become choirs. This is Campus Chronicles, beyond a game, where history breathes, legends speak, and the echoes never fade. Tonight, we travel to the plains, to a cathedral of brick and wind and unwavering faith, where defense became identity and a color became a creed. This is the Blackshirts, Nebraska's wall of tradition. Before it was myth, it was laundry. In the early 1960s, under head coach Bob Devaney, Nebraska's defensive practice unit wore black jerseys to make it easy for the offense to identify them. Simple, practical, forgettable, or so it seemed. But on the practice fields behind Memorial Stadium, those black tops started to mean something. They weren't just shirts, they were standards. You didn't get one because you were listed first on a depth chart. You got one because you played like Nebraska. By the mid-60s, the name stuck. Blackshirts. Not a nickname handed down from marketing, a title earned by whistle, by tackle, by repetition. If you want to understand the Blackshirts, start with the land. Nebraska is wind and work, fences that run straight to the horizon. Towns that huddle close when winter comes. Here, the glamorous things feel borrowed, the hard things feel true. So the defense became the state's reflection. Tough, disciplined, no nonsense. Blackshirts didn't dance after a tackle, they lined up for the next one. And when Saturday came, the whole state showed up to watch. They call it the Sea of Red. Memorial Stadium swaying with 90,000 faithful, all in scarlet. But underneath that ocean of color, there's a spine painted black. When Tom Osborne took over in 1973, the Blackshirts' identity hardened into ritual. Defensive coordinators like Charlie McBride in the 80s and 90s demanded more than schemes. They demanded habits, pursuit angles, fit your gap, keep your leverage. You didn't watch a teammate make a play, you arrived with him. In the film room, mistakes were sanded down to the grain. On the practice field, black jerseys were not given, they were taken. And if your standard slipped, the shirt came off the hanger for someone else. There was no speech for it. There was no slogan. There were reps, and then more reps. Right traditions grow symbols the way trees grow rings. For the Blackshirts, it's the skull and crossbones, a stark white emblem on a black field, not to glorify pain, but to symbolize fearlessness. Defenders started a gesture on big plays, arms crossed like bones. They call it, throw the bones. A silent pledge, no easy yards here. It wasn't choreography, it was language. The crowd understood it instantly. So did opposing quarterbacks. Ask any Husker fan to name a perfect storm, and they'll tell you 1995. That team, and the years around it, did just win. They erased options. They collapsed pockets like tents in a prairie gust. Linebackers scraped like blades. Defensive linemen two-gapped, with a farmer's patience and a wrestler's grip. Safeties arrived like winter, sudden, inevitable, unforgiving. Opponents remember it as exhaustion in the third quarter, then a kind of resignation in the fourth. The scoreboard never told the full story, the yardage did. There was nowhere safe to run. A generation later, names still echo: Grant Wistrom, Jason Peter, Mike Brown, and in the next era, Ndamukong Suh, a force who turned offensive lines into geometry problems. Suh's name became a Nebraska verb. To sue in offense was to collapse it from the inside out. By now, the black shirt isn't a practice top. It's a ritual garment. Coaches hold the jerseys until the defense proves it, at practice, in scrimmage, or in the opening weeks. When they're ready, the staff brings the defense together in locker room. No smoke, no strobe. Just a coach with a stack of black. Names called, shirts passed. A moment that feels like oath-taking. Some years the coaches hold them back, standards not yet met. Some years they take them away, and make the defense earn them again. Because the point isn't possession, the point is pursuit. Since the early 1960s, Nebraska has sold out every home game at Memorial Stadium, decades upon decades. Coaches change, conferences change, fortunes rise and fall, the sellout remains. On game day, Lincoln becomes the third largest city in the state. Farm trucks and family minivans pour in along Highway 77, a pilgrimage in red. Tourists marvel at the politeness, the way Nebraska fans applaud an injured opponent as he walks off, the way they say good game and mean it. But there's a hardness beneath that kindness, a handshake that says, you'll earn every inch today. And when the defense takes the field, the noise isn't glitzy, it's grainy. Not a concert, a chorus. The kind of sound that comes from lungs trained by winters and work. The Huskers have a famous entrance, the tunnel walk. Players stride through a narrow hallway as the crowd rises. On the video boards, history, harvest, heroes. But if you stand near the defensive huddle after that entrance, you'll notice something that belongs only to the Blackshirts, a stillness, a collective, practiced breath, feet quiet, eyes sharp, then the call, then the shift. Then the snap. The music ends, the winter begins. No program lives forever at a single altitude. There were years when the Blackshirts struggled, coaches turned over, schemes rewired, recruits scattered. The jersey remained, but the standard wobbled. And yet, the idea did not die. When the defense found its footing, the shirts returned. Young Huskers pulled on black sleeves and remembered footage their parents had shown them. Grainy tackles, red swirls and cold breath, the skull and bones lifted under November light. Traditions survive for one reason. Someone chooses to carry them. Ask a Husker defender what it feels like to get his first black shirt, and he won't talk about Instagram or NIL or headlines. He'll talk about weight. The weight of past names stitched into the fabric. The weight of a state that shows up every Saturday. The weight of a promise to tackle the way your father taught you, and his father taught him. He will tell you the shirt is light when you lift it, and heavy when you wear it. And that is exactly as it should be. Here's a detail many miss. Not every starter is guaranteed a black shirt. It's a roster award. It's a standard award. Some years a role player earns it before a star does. Effort outruns reputation. Another, the shirts are not permanent. Lose your focus, lose your technique, lose your pursuit, you can lose the black. Not as punishment, as a reminder that black shirts are not things, they're behaviors. And one more truth, in Lincoln, defense is not the opposite of offense. It's the shape of pride. The state's way of saying, we may not have your coastlines or your megacities, but we have a way of setting our feet, and we are very hard to move. The Blackshirts teach something the scoreboard can't. That identity is not won in a day, or even in a season. It's built in repetitions, in details, in holding the rope when the wind is strongest. They remind us that tradition is not the memory of what we were, it's the discipline of who we choose to be. A black jersey is cloth. A black shirt is conduct. And in a stadium painted red, the quiet truth still stands. Sometimes the loudest thing on the field is the tackle you don't notice until 3rd and 12. Next week, the Gridiron Ghost turns east to a tradition that proves toughness can be tender, where an entire stadium faces a children's hospital in waves. Join us in Iowa City for the Hawkeye Wave, when a game turns to grace. The lights dim, the echoes fade, but the spirit remains. I am the Gridiron Ghost, a witness to every chant, every cheer, every chapter of this game we love. You've been listening to Campus Chronicles, Beyond the Game, a JourneyWise Studios production, where the past still speaks, and the stories never rest. Follow the echoes wherever you listen. And until next time, keep your spirit loud, your history close, and remember, the ethos never fade.